Nobody like you. Search the world. Nobody like you. Search the world. Team up and say, search the world. Search the world. Nobody like you. Search the world. Nobody like you. Search the world. There's 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 nobody like you. Nobody like you. Search the world. There's nobody like you. You are the risen King. You are the risen King. Let's say it without the music. We must sing with your voice. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You have won. You have won the victory. Hallelujah. 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 You have won it all. Death could not hold. You are the risen King. Seated in majesty. You are the risen King. So I can get up again. Praise to him and say, he got up, say. He got up so I can get up again. Now let me encourage you. He got up, say, so you can get up. So you can get up. He got up so you can get up again, say. He got up so you can get up again, say. So you can get up. He got up, he got up. He got up so we can get up.
It's his and we have won in Jesus' name. Can we sing that one more time?
Death could not hold, say, death could not hold. You are the risen King. Seated in majesty.
We haven't had the chance to meet yet. My name is Camilo. You all look amazing. Welcome to the inaugural service of Empower Atlanta. We've been looking forward to this for some time. Yeah, give it up for that. Excited to see you. Excited to be with you. Excited to worship with you. This is your first time, for which it is for all of you. We exist for you. We exist for those of you who want to go deeper, who want to learn more about Jesus, who want to learn more about the kingdom, who want to power up in Christ and in God. And so it's going to be an amazing day, an amazing service. We're so excited that you are here. You can be seated for now. I just want to share some information before we begin.
Can we make some noise real quick?
Wow, it's good to see y'all.
Straight up. I'll be back in a minute, but I just wanted to say something and express something really quickly. And this is an awesome brother. And everything is about legacy. Somebody say legacy.
Legacy.
I think that everything that you're building in your personal life is about legacy. And as he mentioned, his father is the president of this awesome university. I went here, I graduated a year and a half ago from this school, and I would invite everybody to explore this university. I didn't come out dumber. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come out feeling like I wasted my time. And some of us have been involved in things we like, yeah, I didn't really get what I expected out of that. You feel me?
Yeah.
This is not that kind of place. And with his father being the president, now he's running operations and VP of this and that. And then I don't tell people who my dad was, who my dad is. You feel me? But the spirit never dies. The spirit never dies. He just transcends and moves on. And so I was talking to him. I said, at first I was like, dang, is dad out of town? Are we doing this? I said, actually, that was supposed to be. Because this is a next generation thing. You feel me?
Right.
And a part of when we come back at the end and we take up donations and allow for tithe and offering and all that kind of stuff, I want you to understand what Empower Atlanta is. It is about really reaching this city and beginning to make programs and things of that nature that we we can establish some stuff. Ministry is great. I'm never knocking ministry. But it's some other ways that we can do and go about to reach this city, and programs that we can actually track people through. And so one thing that we want to do is to begin to establish, and I want my brother to come up here real quick. I think it's important for you to come up here. Whoever Taylor is, I want Taylor to come up. Whoever you can bring that for a moment. I think it's important that some of the stuff that Peter was talking about, we begin to establish it now. And this awesome university has been very gracious to us. And we want to establish the Long BHU Legacy Scholarship here at Beulah Heights University. And so what you all can contribute today and going forward, we'll be able to do things like this that lead to education. Everybody in this room was called to be a king and a priest. And this is a great place to work on that priestly aspect. If I'm the only one that can preach in here, then we have failed. But any moment, anybody in here should be able to take the mic and lead us all to want to get born again. You feel me? So, Peter, if you can grab this side over here, and we're just going to turn this up real quick so you all can see this. Y'all can put this up wherever in the school.
Our Father, all of heaven.
It's important to keep family together. As you're standing, a lot has taken place over the last little bit in our life, and I'm sure in your life. I'm sure that the last few months, days, weeks, years, if you look back, you will say, wow, how did I make it through all of that to still be standing? And it's exciting to me right now to be seeing everybody that's gathered in this room. And even some that have been texting me like, bro, this came up or that came up. And I'm not going to be able to make it. And my thing is, no, you're still here. Because you had the heart, the desire, the passion, the want to be a part. And so before we dive in, I just want to say thank you to each and every last one of you all who are here today. I love you, and I'm just giving a big old virtual hug right now to everybody that's in this room. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm encouraged by a text from somebody yesterday, an email by somebody over here last week, a reply on Instagram or a DM or what have you. Just little things like that that have pushed us to don't stop, but keep going. So again, I say thank you. And so we arrived today at February 4th, 2018. The only one of these that we will ever get. And like my man Marcus Rose says, we're going to win the day. We're going to win the day. And tomorrow, guess what? We're going to wake up and do what? Win the day again. And Tuesday, no matter what comes our way, I don't know about you, but I'm going to win the day. And so when the question is asked of, what is Empower Atlanta? It's real simple. It's a ministry and a place for people just like you and I. People who want to learn more about what we shout about. I'm going to say that again. Because a lot of people are really ignorant. That's not offensive. It's just a lack of information. A lot of us, myself included, have been very ignorant to a lot of the things that we shout about. And I heard somebody say, maybe a few weeks ago, Elder Turner said, we got to begin to put some strategy on our praise. You felt that, huh? We got to begin, as the Patriots are playing the Eagles today. Right now, they've been working strategy, X's and O's. Yeah, we know God's going to do his part, but what about us? And so we got to put some strategy on what we're doing. And so I didn't hear the Lord say it would start a church. If it evolves to that, that's really on everybody in this room and the work that we do throughout this city. I'm not going to knock that. But he simply put me in a position. He said, just start a work. Just start a work. Just start a ministry in the way that it's coming to you. And Bishop Jake said something to me when we talked last year. He said, just start small. You ain't got to try to impress nobody. You just need to impress somebody. Impress things of the Lord, things of the word, things of that faith. Just impress that upon those who are within your reach. And God will do the rest. And so today, we ain't tripping about nothing. We just excited about everything. Because today going forward, we got wonderful possibilities. One thing about a start is that's the last time you'll be there. After that, you are progressing and making strides going forward. You're still progressing. And so with Empower Atlanta, We're just going to teach some fundamental things of the faith this year. We'll be in this room every single first Sunday of the month. And that was by design. Because we got to figure out who we are first. And we got to figure out what we got, what we're working with. Strategy. Taking inventory of what you're working with. And then from there, we'll launch into some small groups. We're going to launch into some monthly outreach in reaching this city. And supporting other groups, other initiatives. It's Empower Atlanta because it ain't about us. It's about everybody that's not here. It's about everyone that's not here. And we ain't trying to take nobody from no church. If you are already faithful where you are, guess what? Stay faithful. We'll be here the same time every week. Now, if you feel led to make a move, that's on you. But when I was reaching out to certain people, the first question I would ask them is, hey, are you serving in the ministry? If they said yes, I switched the subject. Hey, man, I just called to check on you. See how you doing? You all right? Good. Because we're not about dividing the body.
Amen. Amen.
We're here to support the body. And I believe out of the 7 million people that's in this city, it's more than enough fish.
Amen. We
got salmon out there, bass, trout, whiting. We're actually surrounded by whiting. So that's good. Whiting got a little money. So we're going to start with the basics, if that's all right. I know we don't do this much anymore, but for those of us who brought it, Vince Lombardi, when he took over the 19-something Green Bay Packers, these guys were professional football players, professional athletes that played high school, pee-wee, college, and made it to the NFL. And the first thing he did when he walked in the room, they had once been good, they had fallen off. They brought him in. The first thing he did when he stood before the team, he said, "This is the football. I don't want to take nothing for granted." And so I'm standing here for everybody that's watching our recording, for everybody in this room. You may have never been to church before. You may have been to church your whole life. But we're going to start this basic and not take anything for granted. This is a Bible. Okay, that side don't understand. That side. This is a Bible. Come on, somebody. No. This is the living Word of God. Spelled in the English context, B-I-B-L-E. When we was growing up, they used to say, yeah, that's the book for me. 66 books, partitioned into two parts. One known as the Old Testament, and the following known as the New Covenant. 39 books in the first partition and 27 in the second part. Over 1,100 chapters. Over 31,000 verses. This is a Bible. And what it's filled with is not your story. It's not my story. But it's filled with His story. And how His story worked through the lives of people just like you and I. Knowing you're still progressing. And so with Empower Atlanta, We're just going to teach some fundamental things of the faith this year. We'll be in this room every single first Sunday of the month. And that was by design. Because we got to figure out who we are first. And we got to figure out what we got, what we're working with. Strategy. Taking inventory of what you're working with. And then from there, we'll launch into some small groups. We're going to launch into some monthly outreach in reaching this city. And supporting other groups, other initiatives. It's Empower Atlanta because it ain't about us. It's about everybody that's not here. It's about everyone that's not here. And we ain't trying to take nobody from no church. If you are already faithful where you are, guess what? Stay faithful. We'll be here the same time every week. Now, if you feel led to make a move, that's on you. But when I was reaching out to certain people, the first question I would ask them is, hey, are you serving in the ministry? If they said yes, I switched the subject. Hey, man, I just called to check on you. See how you doing? You all right? Good. Because we're not about dividing the body.
Amen. Amen.
We're here to support the body. And I believe out of the 7 million people that's in this city, it's more than enough fish.
Amen.
We got salmon out there, bass, trout, whiting. We're actually surrounded by whiting. So that's good. Whiting got a little money. So we're going to start with the basics, if that's all right. I know we don't do this much anymore, but for those of us who brought it, Vince Lombardi, when he took over the 19-something Green Bay Packers, these guys were professional football players, professional athletes that played high school, pee-wee, college, and made it to the NFL. And the first thing he did when he walked in the room, they had once been good, they had fallen off. They brought him in. The first thing he did when he stood before the team, he said, this is the football. I don't want to take nothing for granted. And so I'm standing here for everybody that's watching our recording, for everybody in this room. You may have never been to church before. You may have been to church your whole life. But we're going to start this basic and not take anything for granted. This is a Bible. Okay, that side don't understand. That side. This is a Bible. Come on, somebody. No. This is the living Word of God. Spelled in the English context, B-I-B-L-E. When we was growing up, they used to say, yeah, that's the book for me. 66 books, partitioned into two parts. One known as the Old Testament, and the following known as the New Covenant. 39 books in the first partition and 27 in the second part. Over 1,100 chapters. Over 31,000 verses. This is a Bible. And what it's filled with is not your story. It's not my story. But it's filled with His story. And how His story worked through the lives of people just like you and I. Knowing you're still progressing. And so with Empower Atlanta, We're just going to teach some fundamental things of the faith this year. We'll be in this room every single first Sunday of the month. And that was by design. Because we got to figure out who we are first. And we got to figure out what we got, what we're working with. Strategy. Taking inventory of what you're working with. And then from there, we'll launch into some small groups. We're going to launch into some monthly outreach in reaching this city. And supporting other groups, other initiatives. It's Empower Atlanta because it ain't about us. It's about everybody that's not here. It's about everyone that's not here. And we ain't trying to take nobody from no church. If you are already faithful where you are, guess what? Stay faithful. We'll be here the same time every week. Now, if you feel led to make a move, that's on you. But when I was reaching out to certain people, the first question I would ask them is, hey, are you serving in the ministry? If they said yes, I switched the subject. Hey, man, I just called to check on you. See how you doing? You all right? Good. Because we're not about dividing the body.
Amen. Amen.
We're here to support the body. And I believe out of the 7 million people that's in this city, it's more than enough fish.
Amen.
We got salmon out there, bass, trout, whiting. We're actually surrounded by whiting. So that's good. Whiting got a little money. So we're going to start with the basics, if that's all right. I know we don't do this much anymore, but for those of us who brought it, Vince Lombardi, when he took over the 19-something Green Bay Packers, these guys were professional football players, professional athletes that played high school, pee-wee, college, and made it to the NFL. And the first thing he did when he walked in the room, they had once been good, they had fallen off. They brought him in. The first thing he did when he stood before the team, he said, this is the football. I don't want to take nothing for granted. And so I'm standing here for everybody that's watching our recording, for everybody in this room. You may have never been to church before. You may have been to church your whole life. But we're going to start this basic and not take anything for granted. This is a Bible. Okay, that's how I don't understand. This is a Bible. Come on, somebody. No. This is the living Word of God. Spelled in the English context, B-I-B-L-E. When we was growing up, they used to say, yeah, that's the book for me. 66 books, partitioned into two parts. One known as the Old Testament, and the following known as the New Covenant. 39 books in the first partition and 27 in the second part. Over 1,100 chapters. Over 31,000 verses. This is a Bible. And what it's filled with is not your story. It's not my story. But it's filled with His story. And how His story worked through the lives of people just like you and I. Encouragement. There's over 1,000 characters in this story that we can turn to at any moment in time and find something that we can relate to how they handle their similar situation. This is the textbook to passing the class of life. This is your healing camp. This is your strategy for the next level. This is your breakout of anything that's trying to hold you back. This is the living Word of God that was the same yesterday, today, and that future we walking into. And so if you got your Bible today, I'm going to ask you to pull it out. And if you got your smartphone, I'm going to ask you to open up your Bible app. And if you got a dumb phone, then I'm going to ask you to look somebody around you. You're taking it out. Whatever your name is right there, but it says, in the beginning, God, which causes us to recognize right then and there that He's there. Wherever you find yourself, good, bad, happy, or sad, God is in your new beginning. That was a shock moment. That was a in this new place that we have found ourselves in, God is already there. In the beginning. In the beginning. I know a few people got some news concerning their health. It's a shift. My health was good. Now this doctor's telling me that it ain't so. I'm in a new space now, but God is in this new beginning. He's all up in it. He's all up in it. He's all up in it. Maybe I just stepped out on faith and I just took a new position. And I'm trying to, I don't want to make a mistake while I'm in here because I lost too many other positions in the past. I want to get things right. I want to, God is there with you. So take hold of the faith that God is there in this new space, this new beginning. I left where I was and came to this place called Atlanta. Because I done done all I can where I was. I had to relocate to Atlanta. By the way, if you got some friends that's thinking about moving here, tell them we fool. we can't take another car. In the beginning, the Hebrew word for creation is what God was doing in the beginning. Creation meaning to form from nothing. I'm not going to be long today. Really not. I'm just setting up some stuff because we got the time to build. You feel me? Somebody say it ain't no rush. It ain't no rush. It ain't no rush. Say bara. B-A-R-A. Bara. That is the Hebrew word. Hebrew meaning a group of people. So if we track ourselves back, most of us in here in this Black History Month, I don't call myself black, I'm African American. Because if you travel around the world, they don't speak the color, they speak to your heritage, your lineage. It tells where you come from. So he and I and her, we come from Eddie Long, who came from Floyd Long, who came from Boom Boom Boom, who came from Boom Boom Boom. And you feel what I'm saying? And we can work that thing back and we work it to the Hebrew vernacular, the Hebrew language. And so in the Hebrew, bara means to create. There's one creator whose name is God. I know some of us work as graphic artists. I created that. No, you designed it.
Amen. Come on now.
I created, the difference is that Asha, I could be mispronouncing that, A-S-H-A, say Asha. That is the Hebrew for to make. Two different things. So we got creation taking place, and then we got some making taking place. Making is to form from something that was already created. To form from something that was already created. This shirt was cotton. It was a plant that was in the ground that was And so what happened is that, I don't know if this is Gildan or who it is, but they took it and they manipulated it. A lot of us have heard manipulation as a bad thing. No, that's just some of the people you might have been messing with was trying to manipulate you.
Come on now.
But manipulation is an amoral word. When I say amoral, I mean it has no emotions or feelings to it until we apply it to it.
Come on.
You hear me?
Yes.
It's just a word that just is what it is. It ain't positive, ain't negative until you bring yoke on it. And so manipulation now is what God is looking for us to do. Take what I gave you, what I created in the beginning, and now refashion that thing, Cal. Because if we go to the end of Genesis 1, after he's done creating, he sits back and says, it's good. Turn to somebody and tell them it's good. It's good. I'm going to tell you why it's good in a minute. Just tell them it's good. It's good. Well, it's good. It's already good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. In the beginning, I created. Who am I? I am God. And I created everything before I put you in it.
Yeah.
I created everything before I put you in it, and I made it good. And all I want you to do is follow my example. So when it ain't good, I've already shown you how to make it good. So that you can manipulate that thing and work it back to being how it was supposed to be. I called you to uphold my standards. It's going to make sense in a minute. Right here. All right. In your beginning, we've established that you understand the Lord is with you right now where you are, right? The next verse, what happens? It's without form. It's an ugly situation. Because God is about order. So immediately after in the beginning, what happens? Chaos comes. Chaos comes right after in the beginning. Some of us got some good news about some stuff, but then we got some bad news right after. Some of us, we so excited because, girl, let me wait. And then right, boom, something bad comes right after. I was excited about the contract I got, but then they didn't really fully fund it. I was excited about this, but then chaos comes right after it. But God shows us that we can still work through the chaos.
Come on now.
And his spirit can work through the issues of what we may be dealing with right after creation started, right after the new beginning, right after we stepped into a new space that we've been hoping, dreaming, and praying for. When the mess comes, no. That's all good. That's just a test that we're going to work through this chaotic situation, and it's going to turn out to be good. It doesn't say in the beginning God created and it was good. It says in the beginning God created and then a whole bunch of mess and a bunch of curse words took place. Yeah, you know you don't cuss about some stuff. I don't believe it.
Come on now.
God. I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
So, if you can work through the mess, if you can keep working through the issues, if you can keep pushing past your tears, maybe it ain't even some bad stuff, it's just great opportunity, but you didn't realize you was gonna have to lift this much weight. Some of us got 2, 3, 4, whatever opportunities in front of us, and they all seem to be enticing. They all seem to be, and some of us been toiling with which way, I don't know which one to choose. That's a good thing when you got options on the table. But I can't, how, help me work through how do I, this is how you look at it. Number one, you gotta begin with the end in mind. Say it again, because some of y'all missed it. Somebody say begin. Begin. With the end in mind. See, as I'm standing here, I'm all together. I'm all in one, correct? My ending, you say, there go Edward. You ain't gonna say that, there go Ed's beginning over there, his end over there. It's just when and that's the difference between time and eternity. I didn't mean to go that way, but I said it, so see, God is eternal. And so in eternity, it ain't no time. It just always was, always is, and always will be.
That's right, that's good.
So when he announced in the beginning, what he was announcing is that I'm kicking off time because I got a different set of things I want to do right now. I'm God, I can just do that.
That's right.
Heaven is already filled with my glory. Eternity is already filled with my glory. Let me create time. I need somewhere else to just be glorified. By the mere announcement of in the beginning, it declares that then there has to be what? An end. If you run in the race, and they say, well, it's the start line, the next question is, well, what? It's just, they're just a couple, they just come together. You can't have one without the other. Married folk know what I'm talking about. A few Al Bundy fans in here. I don't care if you're in high school. I don't care if you just graduated from college. I don't care if you're looking at what's my next move gonna be. Begin with the end in mind. So look at the options and sit back and say, God, what do you see for my end? Because I just play a little part in your history. And so if you're the one that got the party started, then how do you want this thing to end? Then secondly, once you have gotten that, seek ye first the kingdom. Then I sit back and I say, okay, I've seen the end that God has for me. So now which option is in line with the ending that he has seen for me? I got friends that have done some things, may even be doing some things that I look and I'm like, I wish they wasn't doing that. I know they may be doing it because they're trying to pay the bills. I know they may be doing it because of that, but it really don't have nothing to do with what he sees for you. I went through a real tough time in my life. I pray all that's over with. But I had to move out of where I was, and I had to, and for a few moments, it was a decision I made. My sister, I wouldn't sleep on her floor, am I lying? For about a week, trying to get some stuff together. Then my dad called me and said, you can't stay over there. Now I'm sitting like, now she got 2 bedrooms. I don't ask her what she need, but no, you made that decision, you gotta figure that out. I said, cool, I hear you. Now, I know a few friends that's in the streets. I know a couple other ways to maybe do this or do that, but this is a part of my expected end. Amen. And so if I'd have turned that way to get a temporary fix that could have probably became a permanent situation, then I potentially could have jeopardized the end that he sees for me. Amen. And so as you're thinking and making decisions in your life, sometimes you got to flip the seat down in your Jeep and run the engine even though it's the winter time to stay warm, and sleep in the back in a parking lot, still pulling up to her apartment complex even though she didn't know it, so you could at least be safe behind some gates so nobody run up on you while you figure this out. At least you still got your dignity, that you didn't become lower than God's standards to the enemy's standard, just to get through a temporary time. Yeah, it's a new beginning, and then the chaos comes right behind it. But he told me it's still gonna be good. It's still gonna be good if you trust me and don't adopt the ways of this world.
With Empower Atlanta, we got to have some programs so young ladies don't have to keep going to Magic City and Strokers and here and there to make a little temporary money for something that there was another way. Because what happens is that they get caught up in it and can't get out. They get wrapped up in it and can't get out. Some of us have been in situations because we made a temporary decision that we got wrapped up in something that it took us years to get out of it. You feel me? Begin with the end in mind. And if I can't buy no new clothes for a while, so what? I can wash these drawers I got on for 50 cents down the street. But I'm showing God the Lord. It lends us in a new position, a new beginning to where we have to begin again. And for you, as you think about your life, you may have had reset after reset. May have got some information this week that even may cause you to have to reset. And sometimes we can get tired. It's almost like a cancer patient that beat cancer once, then they go in remission. I got to do this again. And sometimes we can just lose hope and say, just forget it. I'm tired of starting over. I'm tired of starting over. And so on this first Sunday of many more first Sundays to come, I know it, Marcus, there's a grace on my life to begin again. And if you need to tap into that from prayer, we got this nice red carpet down here at the front. I just want to pray with you for a moment. If there's anybody in this room that I don't know if I got it to push through that. I need to start over again. And many people expected me to be at my home church doing some stuff. The fact that I ain't there, I had to start again. You're a part of my restart today. See, ministry ain't real until others can see it happening. And the word of the Lord says that they were won over by the testimonies of you and I. That's why you got to keep telling people how good God is and what he's done for you and who he's been in your life. Don't keep your breakthroughs to yourself. Somebody needs to hear it because it's going to encourage them. It's going to help them to keep pushing forward. It's going to help them to not give up. It's going to help them and then tell them how it happened. That's the strategy piece. Because some people don't understand that God is good. Because maybe their history with it, they say, well, he ain't been good to me. They can't see it until you help to take some stuff off their eye. Oh, he did that for you? And again, I had to say no to this, and I had to fast then, I had to do this, I had to do that. That helps to reach people. So last call again. If not, I'm going to move forward. But if there's anyone, it's a small room, and it's a short walk down here, that just needs a little push to begin again, and not just begin again, but begin again with God's grace, to begin again with the power not to make compromises that would embarrass the God that you serve. If y'all had seen me on the news, Edward Long gets locked up for selling weed, you'd have been like, excuse my language, but what the hell? Because it wouldn't have made sense. And the media wouldn't have given me enough time to explain. Some of us are very respected in our family, but we hurting in silence.
Lord, take me home.
Make me over. Just what? For a change, just a sinner, I will follow you forward. I'm gonna tell you, you make all things new. Yes, you make all things new, and I will follow you.
We build and expand our musical team, and we're gonna have just a pure, uncut word preached that is teaching. Many people already in this room will be a part of that teaching process, and it will always close by partaking in communion together. And we won't be long. It's 12:34. We've been here an hour and a half. We'll be effective though.
Amen.
Sometimes it don't take all day to do nothing. But at the same time, if the Holy Spirit wants to break out, we won't fight it either. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, 23 through 28. Sometimes we just got to give thanks. Even if we know there's some messes about to come our way, we got to just give thanks. You know you've gotten to a place where you really have a Christ mind, where you know, all right, some craziness about to pop off, but Father, thank you. Because I'm not thinking about the mess, I'm thinking about the other side of the mess. It's still going to turn out good. And nobody did with more mess than Jesus. Died, whooped, kicked, spit on, talked about, betrayed by his partner them. Come on. And so it says that he took it and he broke it. Then there's a different type of breaking. I remember once when I was a kid, my mom, she slipped in the ice. I guess it was around this time. We was living down, Mom always was staying at East Point. And she slipped and she broke her leg. But she made sure I was smart enough to know how to call the police. I was 2.5, 3 years old. Make sure your kids are educated. And she had to go through a process, a mess. But doctors say that after a bone breaks, when it heals, it's actually stronger than it was before. So if you feel like you're being broken and about to break, give some thanks, because I'm about to be stronger than I was before. I'm about to be, I might have a little scar tissue with it, but I'm stronger. I might have, it might not look as cute, but I'm able to withstand more than I ever stood before. That's why when he got off the cross, he said, all power. See, he had some power, but after the breaking, he got. So he broke it. And he told us, y'all can do this as often as you want. Traditionally, they do it first Sunday, but listen, if you need to do it tomorrow, Lifeway Bookstore is open. Gonna get you a set. I just gotta remind myself that I'm gonna be better after this breaking. I gotta remind myself it's gonna be all good after this. What I'm. And to my folk again, who not dealing with anything negative, but you're being stretched in this new space in a good way. I'm getting more, but it's stretching me. I'm tired, but it's stretching me. But I'm going to be better after the stretching. And he said, in the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying what? This is the new covenant. It's a new covenant. Meaning some of us, we done told God before, Lord, I will never do that again. It's old covenant. We're tripping. But we're going to pull it one more time. It's a new covenant. God's come to all of us today and said, take this whenever you need a drink in remembrance of me. And so we're going to take the communion. And we got two choices for you. You got crackers that are gluten-free. You know who I'm talking to. Right? I can't fool the other stuff no more, you know. My trainer said I got
bread of life, sent down from glory. Many things sent down. Many things. Oh, the hate of time. You are the living, awesome ruler, gentle redeemer. God with us, the living truth. And what a praise we have. You are the living one. Jesus, Jesus. That's what we call you. Major born. You got it. You are the living Jesus, Jesus. That's what we call you. Major born. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Lord, but never lose, no, no. He's
nations for giving time and offering things of that nature. Again, I understand many of us are members at another church, so continue to pay your tithe at your home church because that's your covenant. You feel me? We'll never play no money games and have no issues about money. All right, as we go forward, it'll be full disclosure and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to sow in by making a donation or giving an offering which is over and above, then we will receive that. Also, if you don't have a place of worship that you want to call home, we would love for this to be that place for you. And you can connect with us by connecting with Mr. William Dillard, who's holding the camera to my left, gentleman with the bald head. And he's over really just all about what clerical happenings for Empower Atlanta. So he will get with you and be able to take you into a rec room if you want to join with us. And we would just love to have you to be a part of the great things that we're doing. We're looking for other team members, clerical, and all kinds of things. And so we just love for you to be a part. I think everybody in this room knows something that is an asset to the kingdom for sure. We talked about new beginnings. Well, we want to celebrate everybody in here. So building number, I think, is 3.
Yes.
We have cake, we got punch, we got a lot of different things over there. To socialize, to begin to get one another, to know one another. If you want to hang around for just a moment more, I'd love to come over and just talk with you for a second. One thing I always notice when I go to a grand opening is that they cut the ribbon. They cut the ribbon when they're going into a grand opening. And at some point, we'll do an official launch for Empower Atlanta. But right now, this isn't about Empower Atlanta. This is about your new beginning. It's a grand opening into the next day, the next week, the next moment, the next chapter, the next situation that you will win within in your life. And so we're going to cut the ribbon, the red ribbon, representing the blood of Christ. And the thing about it is that usually when you have a grand opening, you're walking into something. We're walking out of the presence of the Lord in this building into the world. and you got everything that you need for your grand exit and grand opening into the next phase of your life. Y'all shout about that? You shout about that? Hallelujah. So we'll take these scissors real quick, and I'm going to ask you to hold this real quick, Michelle. As I'm cutting it, I'll count down from 3, and when I get to 3, I just want everybody to yell out, "It's my new beginning." All right? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? And I want the band to turn up. Dex, I want you scratching and doing something mystical and crazy on them turntables, because you've been quiet all morning, man. And listen, it's 101. How about that? We out of here in a very timely manner. Y'all ready to do this thing? 1, 2, 3. It's my new beginning. All right, we see you in building 3. Come on, let me get some love, man. Hug somebody, speak to somebody you've never seen before. This is Empower Atlanta.